Okay, we're continuing from this book here, The Holy Grail of Wisdom Quotes by me, Pete Rogers, going in alphabetical order. First person we're going to do is Mark Twain. So Mark Twain was an American writer of the 1800s. He was very popular. He's best remembered for his books about the adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. But he wrote a lot of other books like, The Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. He wrote books about The Prince and the Pauper, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. A lot of books about travel, but, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn is what he's most famous for. He had a tough childhood. Family was real poor. His father was a lawyer, and the father died young, so he had to get a job when he was real young. By the way, I spent a ton of time studying the greatest writers who ever lived, the greatest geniuses who ever lived, and I can tell you, most of the time, the father was a lawyer, or a doctor, or a pastor. Those are by far the three most common professions I see, and the reason is they're all bookish. So, usually the kids are inspired by one of the parents to become bookish themselves. Quite often, people who achieve genius level achievement sometime in their life as a writer or a scientist, a thinker of some sort, they had a lonely, difficult childhood where they spent a lot of time sad and alone reading all the time. Okay. Charles Dickens also had some difficulty during his childhood where he was poor for a while, and that inspired him to be a bit of a social reformer and interested in helping the poor to have more opportunity. So, Mark Twain, Charles Dickens is a much better writer than Mark Twain, okay? Charles Dickens also had more of Christianity in his writing. And the great writers are almost always heavily Christian, okay? That's just a fact. Christianity fits the dilemma of life, take up your cross and do the best you can with your life. We all have a lot of problems, and the idea of redemption, it's just the biggest, greatest tragedy ever was the life of Christ. Okay, so anyways, he had to go work. He worked on the steamboats on the Mississippi River, and he puts that into some of his books. So here's some quotes by Mark Twain. Mark Twain meant, you drop a plumb line to see how deep the river was, and that's to mark the Twain. His real name was Samuel Longhorn Clemens. Okay, so first quote of Mark Twain: "Why not risk going out on a limb? That's where the fruit is. The average man is destitute of independence of opinion. He is not interested in contriving an opinion of his own by study and reflection. He is only anxious to find out what his neighbor's opinion is and to slavishly adopt it." Yeah, so that's been his observation of all intelligent people since the beginning of recorded time, is that most people are just conformist and don't push beyond the narrow conformist margins. If you want to do any great thinking, you have to know what the standard thing is, and then you have to objectively analyze it. Okay, very few people do that. Mark Twain: "Assault against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand. A cauliflower is nothing but a cabbage with a college education." Okay, here's a quote that pretty much goes like Jonathan Swift: "Good breeding consists in concealing how much we think of ourselves and how little we think of the other person." Jonathan Swift said, whoever's, makes everybody feel good is a gentleman. All right. Okay, Mark Twain: "It is easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they have been fooled. Facts are stubborn, statistics are more pliable. There are lies, damned lies, and statistics. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you too can become great." Yeah, like I get a lot of people that insult me in the comment sections, okay? And my opinion is that most of them are paleo, keto, carnivore trolls, or they're trolls from the high-fat phonies. And they don't want me to become known because they don't want me to help the pros. Nobody wants to. I can tell you, when you get into the higher ups, like the wealthy people that have actual power to make a change in any way, none of them are interested in me because, I help the pros. Nobody cares about the pros. It's just a fact. If they cared about the pros, they would recognize what I'm doing and they would sponsor me. But no one sponsored me. I have no sponsors, zero, none. I had no one offer to sponsor me. And that's what I'm saying. That's why all this stuff about diversity, affirmative action, it's all fake. It's all just a way to crush civilization. Nobody cares about the poor people. Nobody cares about minorities. It's just in a fake way. I'm a minority myself. I'm half Puerto Rican. If somebody cared about minorities, they would promote me and have me teaching all over the place, but they don't, because it's all fake. It's just a way to destroy civilization. It's not a way to build up minorities or anything else. That's just a camouflage, a mask. Okay, anyways, getting back to Mark Twain quotes. "The secret of getting ahead is to get started. If you don't read the papers, you are uninformed. If you do read the papers, you are misinformed. A classic is a book which people praise but don't read. The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who can't read them. Okay, we're going to do one more person today in quotes. We're going to do a guy named Frank Tyger. He was an American cartoonist. Okay, first quote from Frank Tyger. Opportunity's favorite disguise is trouble. Progress is not created by contented people. Yeah, usually, necessity is the mother of invention. Somebody who's frustrated, pissed off, wants to improve something, or just somebody who has a great idea and wants to prove they're right. A sense of humor cushions the potholes on the road of life. On the highway of life, we most often recognize happiness by looking in the rearview mirror. That's true too. Be grateful for what you got. Don't know what you got till it's gone. Discoveries are not made by following instructions. Discoveries are made by going off the main road, by trying the untried. Success is often just an idea away. Okay, that's it for the quotes for today. Hope you found those helpful.